Hey, everybody. Welcome to Rachel's Reviews. This is very exciting. We are here to talk about the Oscar nominations that came out this morning. They always do it so early. I don't know why, but it's pretty exciting. And I'm thrilled to have two of my favorite collaborators with me today. We have Conrado Falco's here.
Hey, everybody. It's great to be here.
Yes. And Ryan Cam is here.
Hey everyone! It's always a pleasure to be with Rachel, and it's a pleasure to be with you, Conrado. Even though we've only known each other for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, same here.
There's no better way to bond than complaining about the Oscars, right?
True that.
So yeah, let's just dive in. We have the chat room open, and so we can, if you're listening, if you're watching and you have comments, then just let us know. We're going to go on a pretty quick clip on this. So as the season gets closer, we'll probably have more thoughts on our various shows and different things, but yeah, let us know in the chat room what your thoughts are. We'd love to hear. So let's just dive in. And I guess first, before we dive in, actually, though, we should say, how do you think they gave us more time for the awards this season? How do you think overall sort of the year ended up turning out? And do you think that was the good call for them? What do you think, Conrado?
I don't know if it was the good call or bad call necessarily, but I will tell you, in my humble opinion, the year has been a bit of a disaster, just in terms of how without movie theaters. In my opinion, it just became really clear that without movie theaters, movies are just not part of the conversation as much. And movies, some of them are good, some of them are less good, but almost all of them, I don't really know a lot of people who are talking about them or have seen them outside of, Twitter and stuff. So it really shows.
But that's one of the things that I feel like the Oscars does, is that, because there are lots of reasons to not like the Oscars, but one thing they do is get us talking about movies, and particularly the smaller films that might otherwise not be talked about. And so I'm glad that they went ahead with it. It's going to be weird how it impacts then 2021, because now they're opening again. And so now we have less time. Not that you ever really got that many from the beginning of the year, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if it affects 2021 Oscars at all. What do you think, Ryan? I know you're not a big fan of the Oscars in general.
Let me just be clear. I respect the concept. I'm just not a fan of the execution, because the Oscars have been around for over 90 years. Like, I think 94, 95. I was never good at math, so correct me if I'm wrong there. But they always just seem to just be like, okay, you're doing good, you're doing good. Where did that come from? That's like more out of nowhere than Randy Orton, but that's neither here nor there. As far as this year's go, I kind of, and I don't pretend to be this big insider or like, I called it. Like, I called about 95% of the Oscars and the ones that were going to be nominated, just based off Best Picture alone. I called every one of them except for Mank. And even then I was like, well, there's your Citizen Kane quota fulfilled for the decade, I suppose. But my expectations are like dirt worst, and sometimes even a little further down than that. So I don't know. Nothing really surprises me anymore.
Yeah, they weren't too surprising. There's a couple that I groaned, but they were pretty predictable this year. I mean, I think we were all spoiled last year because of how great the Oscars were last year.
Parasite broke the year.
Yeah, it pretty much did. It was our last happiness that we're all cling to.
I think that's part of why this year is so disappointing for me. It's because last year we had such a great story of a movie that got to win Best Picture because people were seeing it and were talking about it and people loved it. And now this year feels a little bit reverse engineered for me. Like the press or whoever has decided what the contenders are, and they just decided who they were, and then the people didn't really get a chance to say whether they were interested or not.
Yeah, that's fair. That's true. Yeah, we had our first comment says, yeah, I don't really care about the Oscars this year. I think we've all been through so much that like it feels like that's the last thing that we're really going to be worried about. I don't know, a little bit too. It's like, oh yeah, there's the Oscars. But let's dive in. Let's talk about the various categories, and it'll be a lot of fun. So I'm going to start with the makeup and hairstyling. And this went to Emma, Hillbilly Elegy, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, and Pinocchio. Pinocchio ended up with a couple nominations. I didn't even know about this. Did you know that there was a new Pinocchio this year?
Question. There was a Pinocchio movie that released last year?
So I saw a picture of this movie a while ago. I did not know that it was out, but it's an Italian version of Pinocchio. And the picture I thought was fun because Roberto Benigni, who famously made a terrible version of Pinocchio in the 2000s, playing Pinocchio even though he was 1,000 years old, is now back playing Geppetto, which I thought was fun. So,
Yeah.
I wanted to see it.
Well, I was today years old when I realized that movie was a thing.
Yeah, I guess it has good makeup and hairstyle. It beat Birds of Prey, which I thought Birds of Prey would get.
Like, quite frankly, I think the whole makeup thing, not necessarily makeup artists, but it's like just the credibility of that category tanked a long time ago when they gave the garbage fire known as Suicide Squad an Oscar. And there are so many other problems with that movie, but just I had to sit there and be like, really? You had to give that movie an Oscar.
I'm going to disagree a little bit with you there. I think Suicide Squad is bad, but I kind of respect the makeup branch for saying, you know what, this movie had makeup. I know it's bad, but we only care about the makeup and nothing else.
But Star Trek Beyond had such incredible makeup.
Oh, that was nominated that year?
Yeah.
I know.
The effects in that movie were very, very good, and I was surprised that it at least didn't get a nomination.
Oh yeah, well, but it did get. I mean, the just creating the aliens and everything like that is so impressive. But yeah, I mean, the makeup was fine. I mean, they did create the what's it called, the crocodile creature,
Killer Croc
guy. Yeah. But yeah. So this one, like I said, we have Pinocchio, Mank, which. I mean, I guess there's some good hairstyling, and I mean, it's black and white, so it's kind of hard to tell in makeup, but
everyone looks good in Mank, I would say.
Unless it's really pronounced like the Elephant Man, then it really is hard to tell in black and white.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the hairstyles I think it was probably more a hairstyle nod than a makeup nod. But Mank is the big winner as far as noms, 10 nominations. Conrado, what do you think about that?
I think it's not surprising given that it is such a technical achievement and a period piece and about Hollywood, you know? So I knew that it was going to do well in the technical categories. So, and that's how you rack up the nominations.
I think this is very likely to be kind of an American Hustle type of situation where it gets a lot of nominations and not a lot of wins. I'm not anticipating it winning that much. Then we have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which did pretty well, although didn't get the best picture. We'll talk about that. But it had very impressive makeup and hairstyling, so I think that's very earned, very good. And then Hillbilly Elegy, which it has a good makeup and hair, so that's fine. I don't like that movie at all. And then the big winner, in my opinion, is Emma in both this and the costuming category. I mean, I love the movie, but I've watched a number of videos where they talk about how it's a 10 out of 10 as far as historical accuracy, and particularly the way they did the hair on Mrs. Elton, especially, is so great. And
oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, the way she had the bow sculpted into her hair, I mean, that was very accurate to the time and very, I don't know, perfect for the character, I thought. So I certainly would give it to Emma. I thought.
Remember, Rachel, us not liking Hillbilly Elegy is signs that we're just dirty myths.
Yeah. Brian was on my guest for when I reviewed that on the Rotten Tomatoes, and the comments were not kind.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
On when we reviewed it for our end of month stream, we got a comment calling us like dirty misfits. I can't remember the
Yeah.
exact.
Well, and
Yeah.
that I was spreading liberal propaganda, which just always makes me laugh because who knew?
Yeah, I just want to go on the record. I haven't seen Hillbilly Elegy, but I am a real, salt of the earth type of guy. So please do not tell me anything.
No, not a word.
All right. So next we have film editing, and this is for The Father, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. I think this is actually a pretty solid group for editing. I think I would probably give this to. I would probably get to Sound of Metal. I think that was very well edited. What about you? What do you think? Have you seen any of these, Conrado?
I've seen. I think I've seen 3 out of the. I haven't seen Sound of Metal. I haven't seen. What else was nominated? The Father. I haven't seen, and then the other nominees.
Nomadland.
Nomadland is very well edited as well. I think it'll probably win.
Beautiful looking movie too. I don't know if it's in the cinematography, and I'm jumping ahead, but it's just a drop dead gorgeous movie.
And I thought the editing on The Trial of Chicago 7 was actually kind of jarring. I liked the movie more than most. It seems like I enjoyed it, but I don't know. I felt like it was kind of, and how it would transition from the flashbacks to the contemporary, I felt wasn't very smooth.
What other nominee you haven't mentioned yet? Chicago 7, Nomadland. I've seen those 2.
Yeah, The Father, Promising Young Woman.
Oh, Promising Young Woman. Yeah. I've seen that too. I saw that today, actually.
Oh, really?
I think out of those, I actually might give it to Chicago 7 just because I thought the movie was really bad, but I wasn't bored. And I think that's probably due to the editing. They kept them quick enough that I didn't snooze like I did during Nomadland.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Okay. So then we have visual effects. And the visual effects are Love and Monsters, The Midnight Sky, Mulan, The One and Only Ivan, and Tenet. This is one of Tenet's only 2 nominations, which made me happy because I'm a Nolan hater, as everyone says.
The Dirty Misfits are at it again.
I love Christopher Nolan. I just didn't care for this film. Yeah, The One and Only Ivan, that was a surprise, but I did really like the visual effects. They were quite good in that. And I was very excited to see Love and Monsters get nominated. It was one of my favorite movies of the year. And what they did on a small budget was very impressive, I think. Did either of you get to see that, Love and Monsters?
I was 3 years old when I even heard about it.
You should see it. It's really good.
I heard about it from Rachel, so I'm looking forward to it, to finally catching up with it sometime soon.
It's got in my opinion, it's got everything you could want in a movie. It's got romance, it's got humor, it's got adventure, it's got cool creatures. It's just really fun, in my opinion.
I would personally give it to Tenet. I'm not a fan of that movie. I've been very vocal on that, but Nolan blew up a plane, for goodness sakes, to achieve the result that he wanted. Like, give him that at the very least. Like, he broke his back to make that movie. God bless him for it. It's not good, but God bless him. He made a genuine effort.
Yeah, I know that was a euphemism, but don't tell that to Tom Cruise, because then he'll actually break his back in order to win an Oscar.
Don't put it past him. He might actually do it.
Yeah. I haven't seen The Midnight Sky. That's the only one in this list I have not seen. Even though they sent me many screeners, I still because I don't like sci-fi type movies like that. It just looked really boring to me. So I haven't seen it. Maybe I'll get around to it eventually. All right. Next, we have original score. And this is Soul, News of the World, Minari, Mank, and Da 5 Bloods. And this was the only nomination for Da 5 Bloods. And so a lot of people were kind of irritated about that on Twitter. And otherwise, I think that all of these are good scores, in my opinion. I think the Da 5 Bloods score is very good. I like all 5 of these scores.
I agree. I was actually just watching Minari before this call, and I didn't get to finish it, but I was loving it so far. I thought it was great, and the music was really beautiful. So I'm glad it got nominated.
Yeah,
Mhm.
if I were running things, I'd give it to Minari because Minari is just like it's chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, and it's one of those movies. The more I think about, it, the more I like it. But I would probably, out of these five, I would probably give it to Soul. I think that Soul had a really great score. And so, all right, then let's not do the shorts because I haven't seen any of them except for Burrow, which is super cute. But I'll get
Is
around to
Us
that.
again nominated or did it miss the cut?
I think that's for this year, which if you haven't seen Us Again, it's so good. My favorite film of 2021, even though it's a short film. I loved it so much.
When people see it.
Well, you have to see it in the theater, or I mean,
Oh.
I unfortunately right now, I don't know why you're going to charge $30 and you're not going to throw in the short. It's ridiculous and absurd.
Oh, for Disney Plus, you don't get a
for
short.
Raya. But
Wow.
I absolutely adored it. I thought it was so great. So keep an eye out for it. At least it's really good.
There's no point then, other than seeing it early, I guess, or not even
Yeah.
early. It's
So
just
you don't get to see it regular Disney Plus until June. Us Again, which is lame. Anyway, so we have an achievement in sound. How do you all feel? How do you feel about them combining sound editing, sound mixing?
I think people were asking for it for a while. I think every year I used to do like an Oscar pool or something, and every year everyone was like, "What's the difference between mixing and editing?" Like, you know, and they always the same movie or almost always. So, you know.
Yeah, as someone who's been a part of making, like, I know it's a different thing, but in television and remixing commercials and doing sound for those, it's like those two are like this. They're like not too dissimilar from each other. So
because the sound mixing is about creating sound, correct?
Mhm.
And the sound editing is about editing.
I thought it was the opposite. That editing is creating the sounds, and mixing is, you know, like mixing the
integrating
levels
it
and
in with the rest.
right.
Yeah,
And I think mixing is also recording the sound on set.
And which one usually goes to the war movies? Is it the sound editing?
I think it's both. I think it's both. Oh, I know what you're saying. So I think whenever there's a musical nominated, mixing is good for musicals, and then the editing is usually for explosions and stuff.
Yeah.
But the explosions can also get you mixing.
Right. Okay. Well, so we just have now sound. Poor sound editors and sound mixers don't get the love anymore. It's Sound of Metal, Soul, News of the World, Mank, and Greyhound. And I think these are also very solid, all of these nominations. I mean, I guess I don't really remember the sound being so great in Mank, but the News of the World, particularly a whole section where there's this standoff in the hills. And I think that's probably where that nomination came from, that sequence. I mean, surprising a little bit to see Soul there. I feel like you don't usually see the animated films in the other categories.
Yeah.
When I was reading the noms, I was like, oh well, Soul's got this one in the bag.
Really?
Well, I think the Sound of Metal. I mean,
I was gonna say that has sound in the title, so that seems like a winner to me.
I mean, the way that the movie is able to create, especially the fact that it was nominated for Best Picture, but the way that it was able to create the feeling of being deaf and in the sort of the sound when he gets the cochlear implants and kind of the sort of sound that's surrounding him was very well done, very well done, and so. Yeah, I think that it would be my pick, but I mean, the sound was good in Soul as well. It's just different to have an animated film nominated. So that's interesting. So, all right. Then we have costume design, and this is another one for Pinocchio, our new favorite. And then Mulan, Mank, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and Emma. And like I said, Emma, I think, deserves to win because it is so historically accurate. I've seen a number of videos on YouTube where they talk about, or costume people and historical accuracy experts, and say they gave it a 10 out of 10 of historical accuracy, top tier. everything from the highness of the colors to the fabrics to the to everything about it. And so I
That's
think
a
it
little
should win.
surprising to me, but in a good way, because the movie's so colorful that I expected that they were kind of like, fudging a little bit with historical accuracy. So that's really interesting to hear that it's actually the opposite.
Yeah. And but I think that again, all these are pretty strong as far as costumes. Even though I wasn't a big fan of Mulan, I did think it looked nice as far as the costumes. And I haven't seen Pinocchio, so I can't comment on that.
Well, those Italians, they have good style.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. Did you, Ryan, did you get to see Ma Rainey's? Have you gotten to see that?
No, I have not. I've heard nothing but amazing things, especially in light of Chadwick Boseman's unfortunate passing. So I do need to get around to it. But I've heard just endless praise levied towards it.
I enjoyed it. I thought I didn't really like the ending very much. It didn't really ring true for me, the ending.
I can see that. I kind of agree with you. I actually wasn't the biggest fan of the movie, to be honest. But the costumes were good.
Yeah. All right. Cinematography. We have Judas and the Black Messiah. We have Mank. We have News of the World, Nomadland, and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Nomadland's got this.
I think so.
It's locked up. It's in the bag. I mean, at least if I were running things, I'd give them all the cinematography awards.
I agree.
Even in quiet moments where it's that scene where Swanky and Frances McDormand's character, whose name I can't remember, where Swanky talks about her brain cancer, and she's like, "You're gonna die anyway, so I'm gonna," and that whole scene. It's just, this scene is a work of art, and I don't throw those combinations of words around a lot, but that scene is a work of art. So Nomadland, that's got to win.
I do think the cinematography in News of the World is very beautiful, particularly scenes when they show like the whole entire camp and just the sort of the scope of it all. I think is really good, but I would also pick Nomadland for this. I think it is very beautiful. It's its biggest strength is how pretty it is. I would say.
I think Nomadland is probably going to win. Just the fact that it has so many landscapes is almost like a given for a cinematography Oscar. I would give it to Judas and the Black Messiah. I thought that movie had really good cinematography.
I'm a little surprised the Tenet didn't get in for this one. This guy.
Yeah, that was interesting. That omission.
Yeah, I think people were. Do we know if Warner kind of like didn't want to push it very much since they have this rift with Nolan now that they don't, I feel like maybe they didn't push as hard as they would have otherwise.
I know I didn't get any kind of promotional or screener or anything like that for Tenet as a critic for our awards. So, all right, production design. We have The Father, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, News of the World, and Tenet. And I think that Mank will probably win this one.
Yeah,
I mean, it had really great production design.
I think that's where the smart money is going.
And recreating old Hollywood, that will get you the production design Oscar.
Yeah, I mean, News of the World was also really impressive, like the scope of these camps that they built and everything. So that would be probably my second choice.
News of the World probably a bit disappointing in its showing for the people behind it, huh? It got technical stuff, but not a lot of the big ones. No Best Picture, no nothing major.
Yeah, and a lot of people thought maybe for supporting actress that the young lady might get nominated.
Yeah, and no Tom Hanks or anything.
That's true.
Yeah, like he's their boy. You would think he would at least, he's Tom. Let's give him something.
And I enjoyed the film, personally. I liked it. It's a little too long, but other than that, I enjoyed it. All right, director. We have Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, David Fincher for Mank, and Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round. And I think that was the big surprise. Nobody really saw him coming
Wait,
in.
Hang on. Another round? What's that about?
Another Round is a Danish film starring Mads Mikkelsen, where he and his friends decide to get totally sloshed, and I guess I've been told, I actually haven't seen it, but I've heard that it's actually kind of heartwarming.
I haven't seen it either.
So
Haven't seen it, but I will tell you the director's branch has become very international lately. So I'm not super surprised. You know, a couple years ago they had both Roma and the director of Cold War got nominated.
That's true.
And you know, they've had a couple of picks like that. Obviously last year Bong Joon-ho won. So there's a big international push. I think the director's branch has a lot of international members in it.
Or even my brain, Life of Pi, direct Ang Lee won that year. So this is, I mean, it's exciting. You have 2 female nominees. You have 2 directors of color. You have a pretty interesting, diverse group.
Yeah, more diverse than usual for sure.
And I think that Chloe Zhao was gonna win. This would be my guess.
Yeah, that's the smart money. If it was up to me, I haven't finished the movie, but I have like 15 minutes left, and I really liked Minari a lot, so that would be my vote.
Same.
Oh God, the last 15 minutes.
Oh so boy.
Good. I will say no more, but
yeah.
Smart money is going to Chloe Zhao. I think if they were really dumb, they would give it to Fincher because the old Hollywood effect, like Conrado was talking about. If they give it to Fincher, the internet will just be like, "What? How dare you?"
I don't think Fincher has ever won, if I'm not mistaken.
He hasn't, and it would be such a bittersweet moment for the internet because they've been wanting Fincher to win for a long time, and this is just the one year when nobody likes Mank and nobody wants him to win.
Fincher won! Oh, crap. Fincher won.
Yeah. All right, so then we have actress in a leading role. We have Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, Vanessa Kirby, Pieces of a Woman, Andra Day, The United States versus Billie Holiday, and Viola Davis, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And now Viola Davis has been, I think, nominated 4 times for Oscar.
I think she's the first Black woman to be nominated for Best Actress more than once.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I believe that. That makes sense.
In a few more years, she'll get into Meryl Streep numbers.
Well, I mean, and here's the crazy thing. So she's nominated for Best Actress here for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but her winning Oscar role in Fences had more screen time, and it was Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, that's how you play the game. There's a lot of lead performances in supporting roles.
It's like one of those insert Seinfeld theme moments here, like do 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 do.
Right.
Got another comment here. If they give the majority of awards to Mank, it would be terrific because Citizen Kane needs to be recognized better. I don't know. It's
better. Citizen Kane. It's the best movie of all time.
It's like objectively seen as the greatest film ever made. Like Roger Ebert watched it like once a year with like a notepad and a thing, and analyzed every frame. Like I'm sorry, I don't want to be one of those people, but I mean, like Citizen Kane is number 1 on AFI's top 100 list. I should know. I have a series talking about it. But at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs more recognition, but if it gets a few people to watch Citizen Kane that wouldn't have before, so that's good.
That'd be great.
Good news.
And I think this commenter can find solace in the fact that no matter who wins this Oscar, I'm pretty sure we will remember Citizen Kane much longer than any of the movies nominated this year.
Yeah,
that's true.
When I first heard the concept of Mank, it felt like it was like they were trying to make a Citizen Kane making of movie and they couldn't get the rights to it, so they're like, oh crap, well, you can't get Wells, what else can we get the screenwriter. That's the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, my problem with Mank is I felt like every other character in the room was always more interesting than Mank. And
The
so I was
making of
kind of like,
Citizen Kane itself, or at least an Orson Welles movie, is far more fascinating. Like from the RKO stuff and like kicking RKO people off the set because he had strict creative control and no one could get in to see what he was coming up with. I could talk about that for days, but there's like infinitely more creative opportunities with an Orson Welles movie or a Citizen Kane making of
or
movie
even
with the screenwriter.
even the Amanda Seyfried character I thought was more interesting. I don't know. I was just kind of like, it felt very repetitive to me. I'm like, another scene with him getting drunk and other things, and now we get another scene.
It's like
But
instead of making a making of Raiders of the Lost Ark movie, they just make a movie about Lawrence Kasdan, and it's called Kaz.
yeah, and
Now,
it was
you got
written
yourself
by.
a movie there, young man. You should go to Hollywood and pitch that.
That actually doesn't sound too bad now that I think about it.
I mean, if Frances McDormand wins, that will be her third Oscar, so that's pretty amazing. And
Hang on, I know she won for 3 Billboards. What else?
And Fargo.
Oh, I always forget about Fargo.
One of my favorite characters of all time.
Yeah, great performance.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think she will win a third one? I think this. I don't know. I think that's a lot, but maybe.
I think there's a very good chance that she wins. I think I think Carey Mulligan maybe could pull it off if there's sort of a promising young woman kind of movement.
Right. Because they got a lot of nominations too.
Yeah. And I think she's really great in it. I really enjoyed her performance. So, all right. We have actor in a leading role. We have Riz Ahmed, Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins, The Father, Gary Oldman, Mank, and Stephen Yeun, Minari. This is a very strong, I think, group. I mean, I would not have nominated Gary Oldman. Personally, it's a very one-note performance. But these other 4, I think, are very strong.
My heart wants Stephen Yeun. My head is probably saying they're probably going to give it to Chadwick as like a posthumous thing. Not that he doesn't deserve it, because he does. I mean, he was an awesome actor, but at the same time, it's like a war with myself because Stephen Yeun is amazing in Minari. Like I could talk about Minari for hours, but Conrado hasn't finished it yet, so I don't want to spoil it for him. But I mean, at least in this category, it's like whoever you pick, it's kind of a winner. Like I'm not dissatisfied with any of these choices. And
Riz Ahmed is so good in Sound of Metal. I would be very happy if he won. I think that he gave an incredible performance, and he's so. He should at least get the award for facing down that tentacle monster in Rogue One. No one should have to go through that. Forgot about that. Yeah.
I think we should mention this is the category, I think, probably where the people who were really into the Five Bloods are probably the most upset about Delroy Lindo being nominated.
I completely forgot about that.
I saw a lot of people on Twitter very upset about that, and I think he was very good in the movie. I haven't seen a lot of these nominees, so I can't say. I would say I will put him in instead of Gary Oldman for sure. That I've seen, and I don't think that's very.
I agree with you, and I would not actually give it to Chadwick because, again, the ending didn't really work for me, and he is the ending. He does a good job. It's not really his fault. It's the script that. I'm kind of like, I don't know.
In the direction, I would say I have a lot of issues with the movie, how the filmmaking in it, but I think the performances are very strong, and I do think I agree with Ryan that I think the sentiment is there to really honor Chadwick after everything.
Yeah, but I agree about Stevie Yeun. He's so good. Oh, he's so good in that movie. All right, original screenplay. We have Judas and the Black Messiah, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Why did that movie get nominated?
People love Aaron Sorkin. I mean,
Chicago 7 did pretty well, right, with nominations.
I thought it was a crowd pleaser, enjoyable movie. I'm actually kind of mixed on Sorkin. A lot of the ones that people love by him, I don't love, and or I think are just fine, and they're overhyped. But I actually thought this was entertaining. I enjoyed it, and it's not like great, like the best movie I've ever seen in my life, but I had a good time watching it. I thought it was a crowd pleaser, made you want to cheer at the end, which is always fun for me. And so I enjoyed it. but I would definitely put Minari, Promised Young Woman would be the top for me as far as original screenplay in these two in this category. I think were really great screenplays.
And the other couple nominees are, you said Chicago 7, Minari,
Judas
Promising
and the
Young
Black
Woman,
Messiah.
Judas, and one more? No?
Judas and the Black Messiah, Minari, Promising Young
Metal.
Woman, Sound of Metal,
Sound of
and
Metal.
Trial of Chicago
I haven't
7.
seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would agree with Minari as my top choice there.
Yeah, it's really good.
I really enjoyed Promising Young Woman, but I have to give it to Minari.
Mm-hmm. So we got, I like Sorkin, but Chicago 7 was only okay from Triple Feature. So
I really like Sorkin's work on Molly's Game. Like, he wrote that and directed that as well. I think Molly's Games are really underrated. It was really underrated from the end of 2017 and into 2018.
Yeah, I never seen it.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that one. I feel like Aaron Sorkin kind of works better for television than for features.
Sorry, I was gonna say I think Aaron Sorkin works better when he's not working.
Ooh,
Just kidding.
you're harsher than me. I just don't. I don't know.
It's not my
I won't
taste.
make people mad. But adapted screenplay, we have Borat's subsequent movie film, and it was so ridiculous when they're reading off and they do the entire like 5-sentence name title. I'm like, we all know. Just say Borat 2. We all know.
And the movie also has like 1,000 writers, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was funny. And The Father, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, and The White Tiger. That was a big surprise coming in. I didn't see that
Yeah,
coming
what
in.
even is that? I had never heard of that.
I've heard of it just because Alonso Duralde loves it and thinks it was one of his favorites. And so I've been meaning to get around to seeing it. It's an Indian movie.
Oh, it's based on a book. I think I remember hearing about this book. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's an adaptation of that book. Wow, that was kind of a big book. I'm surprised that I didn't hear about this movie.
Yeah. I think it's on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have nominated Emma. I mean, it's adapting Jane Austen. Come on. Or David Copperfield. One of those I thought were very well done. So that would have just been me. But here we go. So it's interesting with The Father. I actually just saw it today. And it's very well done, but it's also very messy as far as the script, like intentionally so. There's a lot of they leave you kind of like, what's going on here? There's changes in sets, slight changes in sets, changes in characters. An actress will be subbed out for some reason because you're trying to catch that dementia. I don't know. It was very interesting. What do you?
If I may, in the movie's defense, I think that was done on purpose, and I think that was done to sell the fact that Anthony Hopkins is losing it up there. And I know for me personally, I saw it on Saturday. I took my mom, I took my mother to see The Father. But anyway, when I saw the subtle like kitchen changes, I'm like, that kitchen's different. I know it is different. And it was one of those things where it was just like, it caught me off guard, and it was, I don't know. I just like that. It's probably not going to win for adapted screenplay, but if I were doing this, I would give it to him because The Father is probably going to get no love, and that's unfortunate because Anthony Hopkins is awesome in that movie.
Yeah, but the Borat writers can be very excited that they beat out Charles Dickens and Jane Austen.
Yeah. Listen, if it was up to me, my vote goes to Borat. That's my favorite of those 5 nominees. I thought the movie was really funny.
Well, if they do Borat 3, The Search for Even More Money, then they can say in the credits, we beat Charles Dickens and Jane Austen.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, August Wilson. The list can go on.
August Wilson, yeah.
I mean, this is one of the only nominations for One Night in Miami. They only had 2, I think. So that's maybe a little bit of a surprise. 3, because they had a song.
That's fascinating. I would have thought they would have given more love to that.
Yeah, me too.
And I liked that movie quite a bit, actually, One Night in Miami. I thought the script maybe a little bit, like it feels like a play at times, but I thought the acting was really good. I thought the directing by Regina King was really solid, especially compared to the other play adaptation, Ma Rainey, which I thought was really messy in the direction. I thought the opposite for One Night in Miami.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. So animated feature film, we have Onward, Over the Moon, A Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, Soul,
Yeah, baby.
and Wolfwalkers. So I am all about all 5 of these. I love all 5 of these movies. They're very high up on my favorites for the year. And I was very excited to see Shaun the Sheep sneak in there.
It's probably not going to win, but just them acknowledging Aardman's existence is just good for my health.
They do really love Aardman in the
They do.
animation branch. They nominate them quite a bit, and I'm happy for them. I love Shaun the Sheep.
That freaking little purple alien is just the cutest thing you've ever seen.
So cute. And of course, I love and adore Wolfwalkers. I just reviewed it on my channel for Family Movie Night this week. And I absolutely love it. I didn't love Soul as much as some people, but I still overall enjoyed it. And I enjoyed Onward, and I loved Over the Moon. And I wish that the song had been from Over the Moon had been nominated, because I thought it was really good. But I'm very happy. I was worried at first that we might have a 3 nominee year. We haven't had one since 2010, and
that would be if not enough movies are released, right, or something like that.
Yeah, and so that makes me happy. And we've got 2 representatives on this list from Netflix, and they're really becoming a big powerhouse in the animation world, which makes me happy. And I think people are more likely to see these smaller films like Klaus and I Lost My Body and these smaller animated films if they're on Netflix than if they had to go to the theater to find, hunt them down and find them.
Wait,
and
I Lost My Body? What's that about?
That was last year, not this year, from Netflix. It's about a hand that's trying to find its body.
The title says it all, Ryan. Come on.
Yeah.
Sounds like they did an animated remake of The Beast with the 5 fingers or something like that.
It's one of those French movies, so it's like an artsy one,
Yeah.
This club, my favorite is Wolfwalkers. I really enjoyed that. I hope that. Well, I think it's probably going to go to Soul, but my heart's with Wolfwalkers.
Me too.
I love on Twitter how Tom Moore had the whiskey in his hand, and he gave the cheers, and I thought that was cool.
I think not only for just how great the movie is and how beautiful it is, in my opinion, but also for the fact that it's the finish of this trilogy of Irish films that have been all 3 nominated and all 3 so strong that I think that should count for something. But I agree. I think that Soul is pretty much a lock. I would be very surprised if it doesn't win, but who knows? Okay, let's keep going. Sorry, this is taking very long. All right, original song we have.
So unusual for us.
Yeah. We have Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah. Hear My Voice from The Trial of the Chicago 7. Husavik from Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. Okay. Low C from The Life Ahead. I don't know that. And then Speak Now from One Night in Miami. And this has to be a rough day for Sia. Her movie, none of the songs got nominated. And like I said, I would have liked to have seen the song from Over the Moon. I think it was a really pretty song. But I think this is a pretty, I don't know the low C one, but I think it's a pretty good list. Good songs.
I wouldn't know, to be honest. To me, it seems like not the strongest year. But I hear that Eurovision movie was kind of funny, so maybe I'll give that a watch.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I haven't seen it. We got a comment here. All of the animated movies are wonderful. Shaun the Sheep is terrific. Onward is fun too. So there we go.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that 2021 is going to be a really strong year for animation as well, because everybody's been able to work from home, and like Raya was predominantly made at home, which is kind of cool, exciting.
What have you guys been doing when you're home, huh? And you're
that's right. So documentary feature, we have Collective, Crip Camp, The Mole Agent, My Octopus Teacher, and Time. And of course, I don't care for the documentary branch. I think
Yeah.
they usually mess it up every single year. And this goes way back into the 1960s with Grey Gardens and movies like that. I mean, they will not nominate anything that takes any kind of risk or, in the documentary category. They don't nominate Hoop Dreams. They don't nominate anything by Errol Morris until he does a war documentary. And so they're just really bland, and they love the talking heads pieces. And I've only seen Crip Camp of this group, and it's good, but it's just like a classic talking head documentary about the people with disabilities movement, and it's good. But I mean, Dick Johnson is Dead is 100% on
there
Rotten
it is.
Tomatoes.
I was wondering, what is she upset about?
It was one of the most beloved movies of the year. And 100%, nobody disliked it. That's very difficult to do with almost 100 reviews. And it was so creative. It was so different. It was so moving. It should have been on this list.
I think the thing about oh, sorry, Ryan, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, it was a pretty clear day. So when I read that Dick Johnson is Dead is not on there, I kind of heard a little bit of a, no. And I'm like,
it echoed through the valleys of Utah. I was going to say that I think the thing with the documentary category is that they really love a kind of like a subject matter that feels important, like a political issue or a historical issue or something.
Like when the drug movie beat Faces Places, absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, the doping movie. Yeah. Right. That's right. Because, Agnes Varda Faces Places is kind of like a hangout movie, whereas this other one was about something that you would read in the news. I think that's really what they're looking for. That being said, I thought I wouldn't have seen any of the nominees, but I actually saw Time, which is about this woman down, I think it's in New Orleans, and she's like about prison reform, and that's a really beautiful movie. If you guys haven't seen it, I recommend it.
Where's that on?
I think that's on Amazon Prime. Okay. Yeah.
So the international feature film is Another Round from Denmark, Better Days from Hong Kong, The Collective from Romania, The Man Who Sold His Skin from Tunisia, and Qui Vadis Aida from Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I know that a lot of people were upset that La Lorena, I think is what it's called.
Oh, La Llorona, yeah.
Yeah,
from Guatemala.
That wasn't nominated. I haven't seen any of these, so I can't.
Yeah, same here. Although, sounds to me like Another Round probably has this one in the bag since they got that other nomination.
And I will see that in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so then we have actor in a supporting role. We have Sacha Baron Cohen, The Trial of Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, Paul Raci for Sound of Metal, and Lakeith Stanfield for Judas and the Black Messiah. So that was the big surprise.
Daniel Kaluuya for The Love of Everything.
But people were really surprised about Lakeith Stanfield because the studio had marketed him as a leading role. And so the fact that he came in here for supporting role and that they were both nominated was very surprising to, I think, a lot of people.
Very strange, I would say, because then who is the lead of that movie? And I mean, it's not a movie that doesn't have a lead. I think they're both leads, if you're being honest. And I think what ended up happening was the opposite. They both ended up supporting, which is strange. Not the best look when it's one of the few movies, with Black actors in it in the nominations, and you put them both in supporting.
To be fair, both of those guys were excellent in that movie. So I don't think it's for a lack of I mean, I don't know. I just think they were both great, both just really great. And
I mean, and this is a very diverse group with Leslie Odom Jr. Also, and I love him because I love Hamilton, and I thought he was good in the role as well. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, I was just going to say, I saw on Twitter there was this meme of when your co-lead interrupts your Oscar category, and it's Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're right. So I also was excited to see Paul Raci because I think he's strong in Sound of Metal. So that is cool. And I think Sacha Baron Cohen actually, if you're thinking about what a true supporting role is, I think that he is a supporting role in Trial of Chicago 7, whereas some of these others It's more fishy, but
Yeah,
all
I can
right.
see that.
Let's keep going. Actress in supporting role. We have Maria Bakalova, Borat's subsequent movie film. We have Glenn Close in Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman, The Father, Amanda Seyfried, Mank, and Yoon Yoo Jung for Minari. Yay! Yay! She was so good in Minari.
She deserved it. She always deserved it.
Yeah. And Glenn Close.
Glenn Close, who got nominated for a Razzie for the same performance this year, so that's kind of fun.
It's the Shelley Duvall effect from The Shining.
I feel like I don't know who's going to win this one. I could see them giving it the career award for
Glenn Close,
but that'll make me sad because that movie I did not like.
I don't think they're going to do that.
I hope not.
Well, I mean, who knows? It's a very tight race. What I would love to see is Maria Bakalova winning over Glenn Close.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be funny, and not to be mean to Glenn Close, but that just seems. I think Maria Bakalova is great in Borat, and I would love to see her win.
I feel like a lot of times they like giving the supporting Oscar to a new face. And a lot of times, somebody like what's her name? Mira Sorvino, someone like that, or when
Marissa Tomei also won.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei, Marley Matlin back in the day, things like that. I feel like they like to do that. So
I also wouldn't be surprised if they give it to Minari. I can't remember the actress name.
Yeah, Yoon Yoo Jung is her name, and she would be my pick of these.
It's really good, and it's such an emotional performance. So I think it's probably the best chance Minari has at winning something. So I wouldn't be surprised if they end up getting that.
Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be shocked if Amanda Seyfried wins too. She's probably the best part of Mank.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're finally at the best picture. So they only did 8 nominees this year. They can go up to 10. I don't know why they do that. Our friend Rosa's here. Yay.
Oh, hey, Rosa.
Hi.
Hello.
So next year,
thanks for the follow on Twitter. Rosa just followed me, so thank you.
Yay.
Rosa doing the good work. Rachel, I heard that starting next year, they're actually going to do 10 movies for Best Picture every year from now on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so they're changing those rules.
Because I do feel like Soul probably would have been the 9th spot in this, I think.
What are the nominees?
The nominees are The Trial of the Chicago 7, Sound of Metal, Promising Young Woman, Nomadland, Minari, Mank, Judas and the Black Messiah, and The Father. Okay. So I've now seen all of these films, and I liked all of them. Mank would be my least favorite, but I didn't hate it. I still gave it a fresh. No, I didn't. I gave it rotten. But everything else I liked. But yeah, my favorite would be Minari of this group.
Mm-hmm.
I second that. I would want Minari to win.
I am a little bit on the opposite of Rachel. I feel like as a couple there I haven't seen, but what I have seen mostly I haven't liked very much. The ones that I have liked is Judas and the Black Messiah. I thought was pretty good, and Minari so far, which I haven't finished. I also think is very good. I mean, who knows? Those 15 minutes might not do it for me. I doubt it, since you guys tell me that they're very good.
I'll cry if you don't like that ending. To me, it's so good, and I just think, especially you coming from another country, I think you'll really, really relate to the immigrant experience that it's all about. I thought it was so good. It was devastating and hopeful all at the same time, which is very difficult to do.
I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. And I with Nomadland, it's really interesting because when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know. I gave it a positive score, but I wasn't
better
convinced.
The more you think about it.
But then I watched it a second time, and I liked it much better the second time than the first time. And a lot of my issues kind of went away for whatever reason. I don't know why, if I was just in a better mood or what, but I liked it better the second time than the first time. So yeah, but I like Judas and Black Messiah, I think is really good. I love Promising Young Woman. I think it was really well done. Sound of Metal is very good. Trial of Chicago 7 to me is a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. The father was very interesting and different. And so, yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Ryan, about these nominees?
Like I said, like I said at the beginning of all this, I don't pretend to be like some Nostradamus of like, oh, I guessed all these. Look at my big brain. Like, no. When I saw all of these movies, I was like, yeah, that seems right for them. But
Yeah.
I mean, I can't be mad at the choices. I mean,
Mhm.
overall, whoever wins, I'll be satisfied.
Yeah.
If Judas wins, awesome. If Minari wins, great. If Nomadland wins, I mean, that's cool too. You know, it's I don't think, and this is a feeling I haven't had in a long time. I think no matter who wins, nobody loses. It's a bit of a win-win.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the first year in a while that there hasn't been one that I've like actively disliked. Like I wasn't a big Joker fan. And then the year before, Vice, which I hated. So, you know,
I have a feeling that only got nominated because Christian Bale got a dad bod to play Jamie, and it's like Christian Bale put his body through so much. We got to give him something.
Yeah. Give it the makeup. Don't nominate for Best Picture. Ugh, I hated that movie a lot. But there's nothing that I feel that strongly about this year.
Yeah. I won't say too much. I don't want to be the grump, but I'm a bit on the opposite side. I really didn't enjoy most of the movies. You know, Nomadland, Chicago 7, Promising Young Woman. I'm a little bit like, not so sure about those guys. Mank, kind of a snooze fest, in my opinion.
Mhm.
The other ones I haven't seen.
Mm. Well, you'll have to let us know when you do get to see Sound of Metal and finish up Minari.
Yeah.
Yeah, put in the come back here and put in the comments. So there we go. That's our thoughts.
Please do. I would love to hear about it.
Yeah. But we picked Minari for the Utah Film Critics Association Best Picture. So at least did that. And we did Wolfwalkers for Best Animated. Both of the critics groups that I'm a part of, the Online Association of Female Film Critics and the Utah Film Critics Association, both picked Wolfwalkers. So
are you perhaps the only member of these associations?
She's like Ice Station Zebra Associates from Better Call Saul. It's a shell company. Like a shell film critic.
Sorry.
There we go. They're cutting you. They're cutting us off, Ryan. We're onto them.
Like,
we're onto the ruse.
You've met your allotted hour. Get out of here.
Sorry.
Turn off the light.
Yeah. So sorry about that. Yeah. No. So it was very exciting. I did not have such influence on my fellow critics members. So anyway, there we go. We talked about all of the nominees. So let us know in the comment section what you think. And thanks so much to both of you for coming on and talking about the nominations. And Ryan, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at RyanCam20. Then there's, of course, my YouTube channel, which is just called Ryan Cam. The new release roundup, where I talk about all the new releases I watched in January and February, did get delayed. Personal life stuff, nothing to worry about, but it will be coming out this week, as well as AFI project videos for Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the next one I can't remember off the top of my head. But then I'll also be doing a WandaVision Season 1 review. It's been a while, but I had to really think about it and get my feelings really solid on there. And then coming this Sunday, I'll be posting my first reaction to the Ghibli film Porco Rosso. Spoiler alert, I really liked it.
I like that. One of my favorites. Love Porco Rosso. I actually dressed up as Porco Rosso last Halloween. Not 2020, but the year before.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Like, the ending of that movie is so crazy. It's so amazing. But that'll be in my video there. So if you all haven't checked me out, please do. I just crossed 130 subscribers, which is just fantastic. And that's only the beginning. So if you haven't checked me out, please do.
Right.
Yeah, and you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm going to be starting covering the South by Southwest Film Festival starting tomorrow. And that'll be mostly on my blog, but I'll try to do some stuff here. And I'm really excited about that. It's going to be fun.
Great. You can find me podcasting with Rachel on the Criterion Project. And I have a podcast of my own now called Foreign Invader. And Rachel was on to talk about Your Name. So if you like Your Name, listen to that.
Yes, I think it turned out really fun. So check that out. And also make sure you're following the Hallmarkies podcast. We've got lots of good, fun stuff going on there. And my dad's going to be on next week. So that's going to be fun. So make sure to check it out. And thanks so much, everybody. And we will talk to you all later. Let's see here. There we go.
There you go. Credits. I love that handshake.